My name is Christine Marie. My artist name is
King Marie.
It's King Marie.
It's King Marie. I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I currently reside in Brooklyn, New York. I am a multifaceted creative that specializes in music. I DJ, I sing, I rap, I creative direct, I set design, I produce events, I do community work, but I love everything creative. So my entire family is in music. I have early memories of my mom owning a restaurant and lounge, and while my mom was performing, my brothers would do the offsets. So when they would take a break, they would do a DJ set for like an hour or so, and then they would switch off back and forth throughout the night. At the time, 3 to about 10 years old, I remember sleeping in the back office and my mom waking me up at like 1 in the morning to perform. I just remember having this sense of performance really early and loving it. So I didn't realize how uncommon it was, A, just to come from a musical family, but B, to come from a Asian musical family. It just wasn't a very common thing. It was very normal to me because obviously I grew up in it, but it's in my blood. It's how me and my family can relate. It's a way that we're able to spend time with each other and do what we do best. Initially, I didn't want to DJ. I'm still surprised that we've come this far with DJing, to be honest, because I just wanted to be like my mom. I wanted to sing, I wanted to perform, and initially that was my first love and introduction to music. And then when I moved to New York, I was like, oh, I can DJ. Like, this is a thing. There was never, it wasn't gonna work. I was like, yo, I'm supposed to do music. Every time that I stopped and like worked a full-time job or had extra part-time gigs, it just never felt good.
I ain't never been a regular,
I always wanted to continue doing music. Making music, I took a very large break from because DJing worked for so long. And I think moving back to Chicago made me understand that I could do both things, but I never would have been able to be in the place and mindset that I was in to make the Prelude if I didn't have my full DJ career to support me monetarily, to support me to have things to write about and experiences, etc. I think growing up, it was hard for me to figure out what being Filipino meant to me because I was just so Filipino-American. And so being Filipina in the city, there wasn't a lot of us, and so it was hard to find my placement. It gave me this sort of pride of holding on to where my mom came from and being proud of that and the roots of how far I understood the Philippines and Filipino culture. And then there was a sense of resentment because I'd be sad because I would love to have known what it was like to grow up in a Filipino community that was like a whole neighborhood of just people that looked like me. I didn't know what that looked like. I think making Filipinx was a way for me to find the people like me. I love being part of a community of strong Pinays who aren't scared to voice their opinion, aren't scared to share their gifts with the world. I remember saying to myself early, if I have a platform, I'm going to make space for everyone to be on that platform as well. I wanted to build a sisterhood. Filipinx started as a celebrating Filipino creatives in a way that highlights each industry. So the first one was for visual artists. We had 17 photographers, graphic designers, illustrators be able to showcase their artwork in an art show at the Annex. And I've been able to showcase Filipino-owned businesses and brands by hosting markets and being able to celebrate DJs and performers by allowing space for them to throw a party and have them perform. And I think the more that I do for my community, the more I'm able to understand about myself and about where I come from. And it gives me a different sense of pride because I also am able to give space to other people that are just like me, that have had the same questions and the same feelings and the same misunderstandings, and just trying to bridge the gap of what being first-generation Filipino-American feels and looks like. So This Is What Asian Looks Like started as my first personal project in Los Angeles, and it started as a all Asian woman group photo that has now turned into live activations. Overall, it just was a very beautiful display of Asian heritage and Asian musicians within Asian History Month. it's hard to take the credit. I love having other people shine, especially when I have people be part of my projects. And so it's hard for me to say, hey, I did this. I love the fact that things can stand alone as they are and people don't necessarily know where it comes from. But there's a certain sense of pride that comes with being on year 7 of This Is What Asian Looks Like, year 6 of Filipinx, and then 10 plus years of being King Marie and DJing and traveling. To me, being able to get to this point of my career, sobriety was a huge part. The first time that I went sober was during the making of the Prelude, and I decided it's actually about my sobriety and choosing what was good for me instead of being scared of what the outcome was gonna be. And being sober made me like hyper focus. Because I had so much more time and so much more focus, I wanted to work so hard. You know, there was so many things that were beautiful, but I didn't understand that work can be a vice as well. All of that intertwined led me to my first crash. Just overworking myself and, you know, falling into a deep depression. And that's part of where I'm at now, is like understanding life is health. Life is being able to spend, you know, time with your loved ones. A lot of my identity was tied up into my work, and I needed the hard stop to realize I didn't need that to be my identity. You know, I just wanted to be Christine and Tita Tin and a daughter and a sister and a reliable and loyal friend. And that's where I then have come to the next chapters of who I am as a person and as an artist. I also got baptized last year. A lot of who I was before was living for myself, and it was the pride in myself. All of the self-reliant things, and now because I have released control of my own strength, it's based off of what God wants for me and what aligns giving my glory back to God. I would be on the floor right now if it wasn't for God's strength and moving me to where He needs me to be. I've been able to use music to help heal, and I just wanted to create a space where people were able to do that. Kingdom started out as my monthly party. I think the more that I progress as a human, I've evaluated what I think of Kingdom and what I want it to be. It still very much is a celebration and is a party and represent the kingdom. And I think the miscommunication sometimes is that it's my kingdom, but really it's really representing God's kingdom and being able to be a part of godly people. And so whether people understand that part of it or not, I'm just grateful that people want to support and people like the design and people support me and stand for that. But for me, it's bigger than me. And so there's no telling what it'll end up being, but it's a way for me to show God to other people. And I hope, you know, they take it as such. All of the blessings that I've endured, and even the hardest times, like, it's because I've had God with me, but I didn't understand that. And so now King Marie's a whole different person. And I think that there's so many other different points in my life, but I think those are definitely the top ones that have given me the insight that I've needed to become the woman that's sitting in front of you today. When I first lived in New York, I was in my early 20s and had all of the world ahead of me. And so it brings so much nostalgia of like being hungry, and being in New York now, it's given me a different sense of hungry. It's setting me up for the next 10, 20 years of my life. When I was first here, I was 22 and had like $500 to my name. So first becoming a DJ and like wanting to do it as a career, there was absolutely nothing I could lose. And now being a grown adult, we've had a really great life, but how do we have a sustainable life? And I think I've had all of my fun and I've had so many incredible opportunities. I want to explore my next chapter of life, being in New York and being able to become a mom and a wife and, you know what that part of life would look like. I don't think I'll ever stop DJing. I love what I do, but overall, I don't want it to be work for me anymore. I miss doing it because I love to do it and not because I have to do it. And it took me a really long time to realize that. I'm always gonna make music, and I think music is a gift that I've been able to share with people, but I also don't need anything from that. I don't need to be famous from it. I don't need to be rich from it. Ideally, I'm transitioning into being able to be more behind the scenes and in a position to be able to put on other people for what they're great at, and allowing space and community in a different way. Sometimes it's hard to think of leaving all of this behind, but it's almost in a different light of being in a different place and in a different maturity and wanting different things. I don't think I ever had an end goal in my 20s. I think I just was in it for the ride, and I was very grateful and had fun and met a lot of people and got to do a list of amazing things that most people would never even encounter in one lifetime. But I think for the future version of me, I'm excited to take more creative leads, be able to run even bigger productions, and to take my passion projects and make the world pay attention. Because it's not just for us, but it's for the world. I want little brown kids everywhere to be able to see a billboard in every city and know that it looks like them. I think the list is endless of what is possible, and I think I deserve to explore that. I'm just excited for what's to come. I want it all.
They call